Hi friends, welcome back to your channel. Sales is always fun. Well, as discussed in the last episode, in this episode we'll be talking about account management process. Now, what is this account management process? We'll get into that a little detail. Actually, we had received a couple of mails asking us to talk about, you said what is account management is in simpler terms, but then how exactly is it done? So that is where account management process comes into play. We've seen a lot of organizations who have moved to account management. So what they think is that it's a shift in the sales operations, but actually no, it's a shift in the organization thinking and the way it works. Account management is not a shift in the sales process or sales approach or the go-to-market strategy. It is a shift that has to happen within the organization. Now I'll tell you why. Now why account management process is, that's the core of the entire account management. Now if done properly and if reviewed periodically, one, it helps you to decide whether you want to continue with this account as a key account or slowly step it down or move it out. Two, as an organization, you will know what needs to be done in this account, when and how. And the third most important reason is, when an account manager quits and goes, there is a knowledge vacuum. When the new person comes in, he has to start the whole thing afresh. So account management process is actually documented either physically or or in a software. Most of the organizations have do it generally in a physical form, but today there are softwares also by which you can manage it. So what is the core of account management process? Well, the first thing is know your customer. Well, we'll get into details of that, what it means. The second thing is on your relationship. The second sheet will actually talk of how is the relationship being built. Third is the buying process, the buying criteria of the customer. And the other things will be to, one, identifying the customer requirement, checking out what your competition is doing there. The next one is to work out on a strategy and have a clear strategy as to how are you going to approach the customer. Next, you would also have who all in your organization will be involved in meeting the customer and taking things forward. And then of course, continue to manage the relationship with the customer. So now let's get into each of these 10 points one by one, what it is all about. First is your customer profile. The first sheet is knowing your customer. So here the very first sheet will only have the customer name and probably the logo. That's it. The next sheet will contain first the history of the customer, how the organization started, who all started in it, where it started, what were they offering then, and the next will be 3-4 lines on that, and then you will say as to what the organization at present, whether it's a limited company, public limited, private limited, partnership, what kind of organization it is. Then you will talk of their products and service which they offer to the market, and then a few lines on that, and then you will say how they go to the market with that. For example, take an FMCG selling shampoos, you and I may be the customer, but how they go to the market could be a distributor, dealer, and then to the shopkeeper. So the way the customer is you and I, but the way they reach you and I as customer is what we discuss as to how they reach the end customer. And you also see who all are their key customers to them and also the key suppliers to them. So after we see who are the top suppliers to the customer, because customer and the top supplier could be of a lot of help to us. We might know who to approach, what to do, because the customer's customer may be somebody with whom we have a good relationship. So that probably we can use it to exploit our business here with the customer. So I've seen cases happening that way, where the account manager has gone and told the customer, yes, you are this customer, I help you get business. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. So that's the reason why we get into so much of details about the customer. And then we also see what is the customer's market share in his segment in which he is operating. and how is the market growing and how is he growing. Because that will tell you clearly as to whether he's a star in the market, how is he operating, whether we can have a long-term bet on the customer or not. So all these the studies can happen once you have these details. And then of course we also see how the market is going to grow. For example, like I said in FMCG, he's in that shampoo segment. Let's come back to that. So you can see how the shampoo market is going to grow. What are the predictions given to that, and how is the customer doing? What is his market share? How much is he going to grow because of the market growth, or is he going to drive the growth? These are things which we can learn a lot about the customer. And then of course our competitors there and their market share along with ours. So this will tell you clearly as to where we stand in the customer place. And the another important thing that we need to see is what is the as-is status with respect to our products or services in the customer place. Probably if you are supplying printers or photocopiers or say computers, you can see how much of it of yours is there and where they are and how happy are they with it. So this is regarding knowing your customer. The next sheet will talk of customers' financials. Because this is again very important to know whether you can retain this customer as your long-term customer or not, looking at his financials. One, you would definitely look into his last 3 years turnover and his profits. You would also look at the key ratios. Here we will also look at the kind of capital expenses and revenue expenses he has been incurring and how it has been growing and what has been your share in that of his capex and revenue expense. And you can also study to see whether any particular division or any product is specifically making higher profits, which is driving the company, so that you can also go see what work you can do there. So this is basically knowing your customer. The next what we saw is the relationship management. Now in the relationship management, what we do is we draw out the organization chart. If it is a limited company, we also put the board of directors, to the CEO and to the various divisions. We go in as depth as possible in this. So we mark it all in a beautiful organization chart, and then what we do is we put down the names in the Excel sheet. We give the name, the designation, and the next column we will talk whether he is involved in the purchase of our product or service or not, or what role does he or she play there. And then the next column will talk about whether he is favorable or non-favorable to us. Normally we put a green tick if he is favorable to us. If he is neutral, we put a black tick, and you find that this person is not approachable or he is not talking favorably to us. Maybe if you put a red mark there, and we can work on strategies how we can shift this customer from red to green, or at least to white to begin with. So this is with respect to relationship. And the next what we are going to see is the decision making or the buying process. So here we see how the file runs, through whom all it goes through, what is their role in purchase. So you put it in a beautiful chart as to how the file moves with the arrow mark from A to B to C to D to X to Y. And then you again write down the names in the Excel sheet and with the designation, and then again with the red, green and white tick marks. And then we start seeing whether, again, where are the reds and where we are not. And also we will write in the next column as to what is their buying criteria. For example, if you are going to the finance person, his criteria will be only money. If you are looking at the user, his criteria could be something else. Ease of use probably. Or if you are looking at the CEO, he will look at the return on investment that the company is going to get on this. So each person will have a different criteria, and that we will have to jot it down. And once this is done, next we do a SWOT analysis only with relationship. Strength and weakness, opportunity and threat. Strength and weakness between us, how the relationship is, and opportunity and threat comes, what are the external factors that play in. Now when I told you that this is an organization shift, not a change in the sales process or go to market. So I'll explain that here now. Against all these people, at least the top management of the organization, you got to again have another column to see when was the last time somebody from your management went and met them. This is very important because this is not a relationship like you normally see. Like you are in relationship with a person, you have a relationship and that's over. It's only between you and the person. Once you are married, what happens? The bride's family go and meet the bridegroom's family. Similarly, the groom's family go to the bride's family and meet them. Probably the uncle of the bride goes and meets the uncle of the bridegroom or the cousins, right? The relationship building happens. Similarly, in these customers who are your major clients, the management has to meet them and there has to be a time frame. Against each person, the account manager will decide whether the management from the company has to come meet them once a year, once a month, once a quarter, half yearly once. You draw the plan and ensure that it happens. It's the account manager's duty to ensure that somebody from the management is met. It can be, for example, the person from your company can go meet the finance person there. Your marketing team can go meet their marketing team or your sales team here. So your team, your members can go. In fact, a lot of organizations, they have a clear mandate to the top management and that unless you meet X number of customers, your increment for the next year is done only if you do, is a base. They set a base, you meet X number of customers, only then you are eligible for increment. So that's the kind of commitment that companies have towards their customers, towards the key customers rather, because as the reason why he's a key customer is because he's giving you a lot of business. Well, we have seen now to the relationship and the decision making process. Next, we look at what is the business opportunity we have with the customer. Number one, the financial statement and their growth plan, what you have seen, will tell you where they are going to grow. Maybe a particular division they are going to grow, or they are looking at overall growth, they must be launching new products. Whatever is a growth plan, you got to relate that to your business and see how you can generate more business. 1. 2, you can also go and start generating the requirement with the users, where the spin technique will play a brilliant role. You can start generating requirements. For example, if you are selling laptops, you can probably meet people, tell them the benefits, show them what it happens, why it happens, and you can generate. Because I have seen it happening. When we had a new models coming in with the bright screen, we went and gave the demos to about 8 of our key accounts and 6 of them came back with requirements generated. Because right from top to bottom we gave the demo and people bought in and they generated, the requirement was newly created for it. So it happens. And it's a part of your strategy as to see how you are going to do your marketing with this customer. What kind of activities, whether you're going to go give a demo in their site or you have a road shows and you call them to your place, show them the new products, new machines or new offerings that you have. So these are a continuous ongoing process. So which means as an account manager, I need to have a short-term plan which is about 10 days to a quarter to half yearly to 1 year plan. The plan can be in terms of sales or in terms of the activities that I'm going to do to generate the requirement. Maybe next 1 month, within 1 month I need to give X number of demos. After that generate the requirements and then work on it. So here you would be proactively going and generating the requirement rather than a customer coming up saying, okay, we have 50 laptops, come. That becomes your normal sales. In a key account, it is you who go work and generate the requirement there. Yes, customer will do his homework on Google, but that's fine. So it is your ball game here as account manager, how you see and generate opportunities. I repeat it again. Next, now that you have decided that this is what I am going to work with the customer place, this is the requirement that I am looking at and generating, then you need to have a closer look at what your competition is. All these details have to be jotted down in the account management book, whether you are keeping it as a book or as a file or in the soft copy format. So which means every day you need to spend after about calling up your customer maybe about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to keep it fill it up on a daily basis. And once you have studied your competitors, in fact there is another thing that which you need to also have a sheet on, is to see what are the news that comes about them in the press. All the recent news that came about them in the press, either the financial statement or product launch or whatever is the press article that comes, take it, stick it, and or take a photo and put it in the soft copy format. Because when somebody, probably sometime later, you can, when you go back, you will see, okay, fine, they had discussed about this, so what is the progress here? You can go check back and look at your opportunity working. End of the day, yes, you have to generate numbers and have the relationship. Next is the strategy that you are going to adopt. So you can brainstorm with your seniors and with your management or with your colleagues also, and then take the best, what is the best strategy you think is workable there. You go ahead with it. Ensure that in the strategy you know who all have to work with you. Maybe your pre-sales, maybe your marketing. Clearly define what is their role and what is the timeline they are going to do that by. And ensure that you, as account manager, you are a leader, you got to take your team along and ensure that your team delivers for you. So your marketing has to work, ensure that you are with them. Maybe you'll have to work with your customer care team, yes, work with them. So whoever is required, maybe you just need to go take your customer care manager for relationship building, do that. Or anybody else for relationship building or meeting up their users or whoever it is, do it. So work out, be very clear what your strategy is. And this has to be in sync with your plan. Your short term, your mid term and your long term plan, which we discussed some time back. So this is in overall what your account management process would look like. You have any doubts, any queries, you can write to us. We'll only be happy to help you. So the next episode, we'll be talking on why customers buy. We are going back to basics to answer the question why customer buys. Because this is very important. When we know why customer buys, we can relate it to our product and then see, okay, what problem am I, what kind of issue of the customer am I solving? And you can start working out your strategies accordingly. But to keep you posted when the episode is uploaded, press the subscription and the bell button so that the moment it is uploaded, you will know about it. Thank you. Till we meet again. Happy selling. Bye.